Hello, my name is Ripley. Welcome to the video.
What's up, schmucks? Finally, there's an episode of What If that I did not love, so we can finally have a discussion about it. However, I didn't get to this video when I wanted to get to it because I was getting my ass kicked with college, which means, unfortunately, and it really pains me to do this, I have to do a really low effort video for this one, which I don't want to do because I didn't like this episode, and I want to talk about why I didn't like this episode. Oh, I'm so fucking sad. I hope you understand. I am sorry if you actually care and you wanted to hear my thoughts on this. I'm sorry, but I have to get this out. I mean, I want to get this out in a timely manner. Thank you for understanding. Here we go. Episode 5 of What If has dropped, and it asks the question, what if zombies? And essentially it's a toned down MCU version of Marvel Zombies, a really good comic series that I read when I was a child, and it low-key fucked me up. And straight up, I do not know why people are praising this episode. I saw some people giving it a 10 out of 10 and even some 11 out of 10s on Twitter, and I'm like, how? So let me treat this like one of my normal reviews, and I'll start with the positives before I go into the negatives. First up, this is more or less a Spider-Man episode, and Spider-Man is really good in this. The voice actor, Hudson Thames, did a really great job. This did feel like a Tom Holland impression, but it's a good Tom Holland impression. And I love that this Spider-Man was very much the MCU version, while also feeling a bit more like the classic comic booky version people won't shut the fuck up about. And to be honest, I was incredibly disappointed to see Josh Keaton in the cast list, but not as Spider-Man. I know he doesn't sound like Tom Holland, and it wouldn't have made a lot of sense if he did the voice, but I don't give a shit. Give me more spectacular Spider-Man, you fucking cowards. I also really liked how violent this episode got, with all the beheadings and dismemberments and such. Really good stuff. And yeah, that's about it for the positives. Let me tell you why this episode did not work for me, which sucks because this was the episode for me. This is the one that I was looking forward to the most. I was beyond hyped for this episode, and it was incredibly disappointing. So firstly, this episode is way too comedic, and half the jokes aren't even funny. Off the back of the absolutely banging Doctor Strange episode, I was thinking, yeah, the MCU is willing to get bleak and sad and dark, and I am ready for the zombie episode, but nope, this shit is tonally all over the place. Like Sharon Carter making a joke after blasting Happy's face off, Hope making a joke after killing Sharon, and especially Scott Lang making a joke after one of his best and only friends gets murdered. I cannot express how much that pissed me off.
Whoa, watch out! She's a man-eater!
This stupid fucking joke alone ruined this episode. Like, I was already kind of not enjoying it by that point, but that was the last straw. After that, there was nothing it could do to salvage it. That fucking ruined the whole thing for me personally. However, this one line I thought was quite funny. I genuinely laughed my ass off at this. It just feels lazy and half-assed, and it was so funny.
Wakanda forever!
I also hated how this episode wastes its best ideas, like zombie Doctor Strange. That sounds amazing. A zombie that can use the crimson bands of Cyttorak, or the bolts of bedevilment, or utilize portals to catch his victims. That sounds amazing. And it's here for maybe 10 seconds? A giant zombie, or a tiny zombie. Again, really cool concepts, but incredibly short-lived. Then in the end, we get zombie Thanos who's wielding 5 Infinity Stones, which we could see more of one day in like a part 2 to this, but I hope to God that isn't wasted, because again, really cool ideas in this episode that go absolutely nowhere. I don't give a fuck if Falcon and Hawkeye are zombies. I want to see wizard zombies and giant zombies. I guess Scarlet Witch as a zombie was kind of cool, but she was only on screen for maybe a minute, and she didn't do anything particularly interesting except use telekinesis. Also, Vision is a dumbass in this episode. He's like, I must atone for what I have done, and then he fucking kills himself, which leads to the zombies advancing. Why didn't he just mow down the horde of zombies first and then kill himself? I know he wouldn't have fought Wanda, but at least you could have killed the zombies, dude. Also, why do the zombies advance? It said that they're wary of the Mind Stone, but even if Vision ripped it out, the Mind Stone is still the Mind Stone, and it's still there, it's just not attached to Vision. What difference does it make? It's still the fucking Mind Stone. However, despite all of this, my biggest issue with this episode was how uninspired and uninteresting it was. Like I said, superheroes being zombies is a wicked cool idea, but we don't see the full extent of that here. And beyond that, this episode features so many goddamn zombie story cliches and tropes. There's a guy getting dragged off as he fires his gun into the air. This is imagery in a lot of horror movies, not specifically zombie movies, but it still counts as a dumb trope that we didn't need to see. There's the guy who makes a survival journal or a video or something akin to that. There's the good person who sacrifices themselves. There's the shit person who sacrifices themselves. There's the person whose loved one is a zombie but they keep them around for some reason, which I've seen a few times and I've never been a fan of it. There's the person who's immune. There's the person who has to kill their bestie, but usually there's more emotion involved in that. And there's probably more, but those were the ones that really jumped out at me. There were some tropes I actually would have really liked to have seen that could have been really cool. In particular, people switching sides in the end of the world. Maybe some heroes just lose their shit and go bad when the world ends. Maybe some villains team up with the heroes, because what's the point of being a villain in the apocalypse? Imagine a resistance of MCU heroes and villains. That would be sick. Overall, I was disappointed by this episode. While it did feature a really good take on Spider-Man and some decent zombie action, the lack of fresh ideas and the waste of some of its best concepts really hurt the episode overall. And not to mention the incessive, unfunny jokes that weigh this episode down from start to finish. I really wanted to love this one, and I really didn't. Oh well. Anyway, feel free to let me know your thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear what you have to say about this episode. I know this is definitely in the minority for not liking this one. Everybody fucking loved this episode, and I personally, I just didn't. I'm tired of zombies. It takes a lot for me to be entertained by zombies. I think it's a dead genre and I have no interest in it. The odds were stacked against this episode and it just didn't pull through for me. But thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day, and I'm going to try to get the Killmonger episode up earlier than I had this one up. Bye bye.